Hi guys, Nicolette here. Today, Brian and I are with Jaya Jaya Myra. She is a health and wellness expert as well as an author, and she's here to talk to us about life and well-being and balance. Hi, Myra. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as a molecular biologist and the road that led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. So that's a long story, but I'm going to try to make this short and sweet for you guys. I did start my career as a molecular biologist. I thought it was really cool. I like the whole analytical side of things in addition to being creative, but I think we really need to dive in and dive deep into things to understand the nature of reality. So I always wanted to heal people and to make the world a better place. And I thought that science or medicine were a good way to do that. I opted to go the scientific route, and about, I don't know, midway into my career in my late 20s, I just started getting really sick, and the doctors eventually diagnosed me with fibromyalgia when they couldn't find anything else that was wrong. So it devastated my life. I mean, and devastate is probably an understatement. I lost everything. My home was foreclosed on. I had to declare bankruptcy. I lost my job because I wasn't able to work or perform my duties anymore. And I was left with nothing. I mean, my husband even divorced me. So I was like at total rock bottom, reevaluating my life, figuring out what I wanted to do. And a part of that was really figuring out that the way that science pursues things and the things we have to do in research and animal testing to validate new cures and medicines really didn't work for my ethos. So I decided to just change my life completely, to leave that behind, to realign with things that were more in alignment with what I was believing at the time. Like, hey, we shouldn't be killing animals in order to find a way to make people healthier and better. And it took a while to redefine things, but that journey towards redefining my purpose and figuring out who I really was, what was important to me, and living in alignment with that turned out to be very much the same journey to recovering naturally. So not only did doctors say, hey, you've got fibromyalgia, they couldn't do anything to help me. Any classical treatment at that point in time was not only not effective, it made me feel worse and more sick. So I had to find ways to heal myself naturally. And that's really what put me on this trajectory that I'm on now, having healed completely naturally and being healthier than I've ever been. I want to be able to motivate and inspire other people to find those answers and to do that for themselves.
Well, that's great.
So then let's kind of talk about the mind and body connection then. How powerful is that really? I know when you feel stress, it takes a physical toll and vice versa. So how is that connection? How have you seen it?
I'd say that mind, body, and spirit are really three parts of the same whole entity. We tend to think about them being different things because the mind likes to compartmentalize and put things in boxes so we can clearly understand it. But in reality, everything is interconnected. And that was really the premise of my TEDx talk that I gave, looking at the connections of purpose and happiness to health and well-being. There is some very stark and dramatic evidence now, scientifically and medically validated, that show these interconnections between how you're feeling and your emotional state and your mental state and your physical health. So if you're not happy with your life, if you're struggling emotionally, if you're dealing with depression, these things are going to have a direct impact on your physical health and well-being as well.
So I have a question. Right? I always, like, if I feel like I'm getting sick, and I know this is a minor thing like a cold, I go, I am not getting sick. I will myself not to get sick. And I'll act, and I would say 99% of the time I don't get sick, even though I feel like those symptoms coming on. Or I'll go to, like, I'm a jujitsu practitioner. I'll go to jujitsu and I'll be like, because I get into a happy place when I'm there, right?
Yes.
How much do you feel that like, is the mind really that powerful? Or am I just tricking myself, or maybe I'm not really getting sick?
The mind is extremely powerful, and it does shape what you feel that you're able to accomplish. And that's the same for your life purpose, for being successful, for staying physically healthy. Like, I never believed that I was going to stay sick. And I think that that's really the catalyst that made me get better, was I just refused to own that sickness. I never said things like my fibro or my sickness. I just pushed it away like it was a distant thing. And even though I was able to make myself better and I worked with people like around the world for a long time, it took me a long time to develop a methodology because I needed to figure out what it was that actually made me better. And I think that it comes down to the mindset that you mentioned. That was what I think is the number one difference, because your mindset and what you believe shapes the trajectory of what is possible for you. So if you don't think you're going to get better, or if you don't think you're going to be successful, you're not setting yourself up for these things to come into your life. Like, you are literally telling your mind, body, soul connection and your connection to everything else that, hey, this is what I'm envisioning. So those are the possibilities that are going to be open to you. And if you've got strong enough willpower to push away a disease, kudos to you, because like that is huge. That means your willpower could get you pretty much anything that you want.
Yeah, it's well, I think it's so much. I mean, for me, I think it's, I think people, it's the belief in themselves, right? That becomes so important, right? And that to me becomes the biggest thing. Like, how much do you believe in yourself? Can you do this? Whatever it is, you know?
Absolutely. If you don't believe in yourself, then nothing is going to be possible. This is one of the things I talk about in my book. Like, we've all got the potential to do anything and to be anything, but our potential is limited by what we believe about ourselves, consciously and subconsciously. And so people really, really need to wrap their heads around that. You can't just say, oh, I can do anything, but then side by side with that, whole this limiting belief that is keeping you from doing what you want. Like, you have to recognize that your mindset and your beliefs are really like that weakest link or the strongest link that's going to help you to succeed or keep you from succeeding.
Well, then to that point, and even back to Brian's point about how, being sick and the mind working, or, believing that you can actually do something. How can people then better align their mind, their body, and their spirit? What kind of action can they take now?
So there's different ways of looking at that. So there would be the mindset, the meditation route, meditation being like where you're going into more silence and stillness. There's also meditation techniques that have the mind like focusing on different things. And these all function with the body physiologically in different ways. So when you're able to just like sit in silence for a long period of time, it acts as a digestion mechanism for the mind. So the analogy that I use with people is that we all eat food every day. We drink things like, I've got my cup of tea here. This is my daily routine. I'm sure we'll get into daily routines here. We eat all these things and then we have to digest it and eliminate it. But how many people have an effective mechanism to digest their thoughts and experiences and all the stimuli that come in on a daily basis? That is just as important for mental hygiene and mental well-being. So meditation and sitting in silence helps to digest a lot of these stimuli that stress out the body and cause us tension and anxiety. And meditation techniques can do that as well. Going to your happy spot and having hobbies that you enjoy. This all like acts as a buffer and a barrier to keep those stimuli from causing stress and anxiety on a physical and biological level.
So then, are there, and you kind of brought up the routines, are there things that we can be doing daily then, to aside from meditation, and just, is there something that we should be saying to ourselves then every day? I've heard of these mantras, or
and working with that stuff. I think the most important thing to recognize about the mind is that while it can get burdened by all these stimuli, it really loves and craves consistency. So it's important for people to have consistent daily habit that they enjoy. So most of the time we force ourselves to do things that we don't want to do because we have to do them. And very, very few people actually have a daily habit of doing something that is just self-care, that they enjoy, that they love. And I always tell people, don't even bother trying to start a meditation routine if you're not doing something that you already really enjoy. Because how are you going to be successful maintaining something that you don't like doing, which is a hurdle and a huge expenditure of energy, if you're not already doing something that you enjoy, which is a lower expenditure of energy? So I would always tell people, start by making a daily habit that's something that you enjoy. Like this cup of tea is my morning ritual, my routine. Like I have a cup of tea every single morning, and that helps like to bring that stability into life and that sense of enjoyment. This is like one of many things that I do every day, but this is like my morning routine.
So with different routine and different things like meditation or things like that, and I'm going to use the analogies that I know because it makes sense in my mind, right? So for instance, like running and jujitsu. Jujitsu, I don't think about anything. It's my happy place, like because if someone's going to choke me or break something on me, if I'm thinking about other stuff. Whereas when I'm running, different type of physical activity, I think through all the things that are bothering me, right? So are there different types of physical activity or even types of different meditation or even rest periods, right, that cause sort of different reactions to help you deal with what you're feeling or your body's wellness?
Yes, definitely. So like you said, when your mind is allowed to go empty, that's very similar to when you're sitting in a place of silent meditation. People shoot for that silence because it's just allowing the mind to be still. That allows the body to enter into more of a self-healing mechanism where your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems can rebalance. So one of the things that gets off in our body is a lot of times the parasympathetic nervous system gets out of whack and isn't responding appropriately to stress and stimuli. So going into that silent place helps that to like reset, and then your body can heal naturally. Now, when you are thinking about things and you're able to focus more clearly, that's a channel for your energy. It helps you to analyze better. It helps you to focus and have willpower and creativity. And all of these things are fuel for being successful and for cultivating meaning in life. So I think that they're both equally important, and we need to have time to, like, one, where we're cultivating meaning and purpose, and we also need to have time where we're just letting go of everything, including meaning and purpose, and just letting the body recharge.
So you bring up purpose, and it kind of ties into what you talked about when you said that if you're not happy doing what you're doing, at that point, don't even bother meditating yet, because why continue that? Now, that kind of ties into your TED Talk too about living with purpose. So what about those people who feel that there are barriers preventing them from fulfilling their life's purpose? What do you say to those people?
I would say that there is always truth in everything that someone thinks. There probably are some barriers that are fulfilling them reaching that highest potential of their purpose, but it's also like a trick of the mind, because we can never go from a start point to an end point immediately. So if someone says, hey, my purpose is doing X, Y, or Z, but I'm here, you still need to like walk the journey to get there. And that's where people trip themselves up, is there's always something that you can do to take the next step towards getting to that point. We tend to think about things in terms of all or nothing, because then that is a way that the mind can rationalize and justify things to put it in a box that we can understand. But it doesn't mean that that's like based in reality, and it's definitely not a healthy way of viewing things. There is always something, some small thing that you can do to work towards your goals and to make a change in your life. Like, I'm constantly doing new things. I'm constantly pushing myself out of my box, trying new things, reaching out to new people, looking to like write for new publications, do more TV appearances. And if I wasn't constantly trying to grow, I wouldn't be doing those things. And I think a lot of people, they just don't realize that they really have the power. They have the power to do whatever they want, but they just need to take a step or two or three and then wait and see, because new opportunities will present themselves.
Mm-hmm. So you never imagined that this is where you'd be sitting. You sought out to study molecular biology, and that path kind of just, so did you ever feel like after the fibromyalgia, what kind of challenges then did you have to overcome and kind of talk to yourself and get your mind in the right place to get to this point? I mean, this is stepping outside your comfort zone and what you thought you were going to do.
Well, there was a few things. When I say that my life got devastated, I mean I hit rock bottom. So a part of that was I was separated from my children when they were very young, and I ended up having to move all the way across the country. So, I had like huge distance separating me and no income to enable me to go and visit them or see them or support them in any way. That was hugely depressing for me, and I think that that's what caused me to take so long to get well. It took like 2, maybe 2.5 years to get well, which by some standards is quick for fibro. But I know for me, that's because I was seriously depressed and like just dealing with this, hey, and now you're divorced, now you don't have a job, now you're bankrupt, now your home has been foreclosed on. How do you pick up and rebuild, like when you're separated from the people that you care about the most? Like, we all need to have a cohesive structure of emotional support, and I really felt that that was lacking for me at the time. So my uphill battle was feeling like I was trying to figure these things out a lot on my own and not like knowing how to get there. And everyone's gonna like have their own hurdles. So that's why I recommend consistency, because consistency helps you to keep the mind healthy. Try to have an emotional support system or someone that you can talk with in your life, because that's hugely important for maintaining that mental and emotional stability as well. And when you're doing these things, you will keep moving forward. There's always going to be problems and obstacles, but there's also always going to be opportunities. So which one are you going to choose to put your energy into?
Yeah, it's so much about how, because the world is just going to knock you down sometimes, and how it's about you getting up, in many ways,
Yeah.
and
we hear that from everyone, but I don't think that people like really assimilate like how difficult it is for some people. Like, I've heard people say, I don't know how you could survive without being with your kids. I'm like, well, many days it didn't feel like it was possible, but you continue to wake up anyway, and then you just keep like pushing forward. That's all you can do at sometimes, is just wake up and keep doing something. And then opportunities do come your way. So people need to know that this path to success is not paved with like roses and flowers and things that smell good along the way. I mean, success is paved with a ton of difficulties and obstacles, and you got to just keep pushing through those and keep moving forward.
Well, Myra, you're definitely a true inspiration. I love hearing your story.
Thank you.
Myra, leave us with this. What would you say it means, in your opinion, to live your purpose?
I say that living your purpose is really identifying with everything that makes you uniquely you. And I talk about this in my upcoming book, The Soul of Purpose. It's really looking at what is everything that makes you you, because your purpose actually determines your whole body structure. It determines your temperament. It determines the way that you view life and what you're good at, your talents, your weaknesses. So learning to really work with the things that make you you and that you're good at is a huge part of living your purpose, as is understanding what creates meaning in life. Like, how have your past experiences impacted what you value now? Certainly something in your past has contributed to what brings meaning and value to your life now and what you feel that you should be doing. So it's looking at those things, which are often difficult in nature as well, and being able to take that bad stuff and turn that into meaning and purpose, and to use your talents and your skills like to make the world a better place. So I think when you're combining those two pieces of like your innate talents and the things that help you to cultivate meaning, like then you're on track towards living your purpose.
Awesome. Thank you, Myra. Can you tell everybody where they can learn more about you and when they can get your new book?
Absolutely. I'm very easy to find online. Everything is at Jaya Jaya Myra. So my website, jayajayamyra.com, Jaya Jaya Myra on Wikipedia, Jaya Jaya Myra on every social media channel. No excuse for not finding me. my book will not be out till January 2021, so we still have some time on that. But if you follow me on social media, you're going to start seeing a ton of announcements coming up this fall as we're doing the book launch, and I'm doing my book tour. And I'm also looking to give a huge amount of books away to charity during that whole campaign to help promote like mental health and well-being and women's empowerment.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you so much, Myra, for joining us.
I really appreciate being here today.